Welcome back to Bottom Deck Achievements, a Hearthstone achievement hunting series. It's finally here after what felt like the longest wait in the world. The Deadmines mini set for United in Stormwind is upon us. I got the location wrong, but I got Edwin right last time. That's what I get for not knowing my WoW lore. So today I want to dive into each and every card of the mini set and kind of give an overview of all the new achievements that have been added. But first, a message from past Tallman to kind of give a little snapshot of where we were at with achievements right before release. So take it away, past me. Let's go. First up, a little more than halfway done on this Demon Hunter one. It looks like we got some more card draw stuff for Demon Hunter, so I might change this deck up a little bit, but this is turning out to be a soul-crushing achievement and grind to get done. Slightly more than halfway done, though. I've been jamming a lot of games with this deck, and it still is not winning a lot. Moving on, finally buckled down and did this one the correct way. Since I did it in that earlier episode where I just took control of the person who had done it, or rather the Elec that had an Elec plate on it. That didn't seem to count. The game didn't like that, so I finally went and did it. Took a couple games. I built a deck solely just for this to try to draw out as many spells as I could with a bunch of cheap minions, and eventually I got there. I found an opponent that didn't just completely run me over by the time I could play both of these. So that one wasn't terrible, but it wasn't super easy either. Moving on, I have level 2 of the Pirate Warrior one. So close to 50 gold. We'll get there for here. Yeah, I'm definitely crafting this quest. First of all, because there's an achievement for it, but we're getting a lot more pirate stuff in the mini set, so it's looking like Pirate Warrior is going to be a solid choice moving forward. And then finally, unless I happen to pop another one, which you'll see the video here, if so. No? Okay. I guess this is the last one then. I finally finished level 3 of the Encumbered Pack Mule one. There's my 50 gold. It surprises me every time. Okay, there we go. This one wasn't bad. Turns out Pack Mule is a good card, what just seemed to be kind of pack filler, no pun intended. Actually ended up being kind of solid in C's playing a bunch of decks. It's especially in Wild, I've been seeing it in a Hand Warlock, which I've been running into a lot because I'm trying to ladder up in the last couple days of this month. But yeah, this is it before the set, and I know the percentage is broken, but I did the math beforehand. We are not at 40%. As far as just experience gained, we're at about 79% of the available experience gotten from achievements. Just a couple to go, honestly. Like, we're finished with a lot of classes before the mini set comes out, which is really cool. Only a couple like big legendary spots that we need to deal with. So yeah, anyway, back to present me. And we're back. Thanks, past me, for that special report. Now, let's dive into the cards. Like all other mini-sets to date, the Deadmines contains 35 new cards, with 4 legendaries and 1 epic, and the rest kind of dispersed among commons and rares. So here I'm going to go class by class in alphabetical order, start by talking about the 3 cards that are available, and then hop over to the achievements page to go over what was added there. I didn't prepare any graphics for this, so we're just going to do this all in client. Let's go. First up for Demon Hunter is the Crow's Nest Lookout, which unfortunately I don't think is going to see any play anywhere. The 2 main decks that run around for Demon Hunter right now are Quest and Quest with the Lifesteal OTK with Il'gynoth, as well as I think occasionally you'll see the occasional Death Rattle list running around. It's still okay. Unfortunately, this doesn't fit into either one of those. I gave all these cards arbitrary star ratings, and this one I just gave 1 star out of 5. So unfortunately, I think this one is kind of rubbish, unfortunately. I do like the left and rightmost enemy minions thing kind of being a Demon Hunter thing, let alone with just the Outcast, but we see Kurtrus attacking the left and right minions as well, so I like that design space they're going with. It's just, well, we need something a little better than this. Next up, Need for Greed, on the other hand, I think is a fine card. I think this will see play in the quest list. It's pretty efficient. you want to cycle through your deck a lot, and this costing 3 to draw 3 is very, very good. I guess even if you draw it after you play Kurtrus, it's still 3 to draw 3, which I guess you'd be drawing it regardless, but the only downside for this is that it's not just a discount of 2, it costs 3, so it will never get cheaper than that. But on the other hand, it is tradable, so if you just need to draw 1 for 1, that option's there too. I'm glad that they're sticking with more tradable stuff because, honestly, I think it's the best mechanic that they've introduced in a very long time. I think I gave this one 4 stars because I think it's just flexible and good draw, and I think it edges out a couple other draw options. At the end of the day, a 3-mana draw 3 is pretty incredible, so I think this one will see a lot of play. Maybe not as much in the Death Rattle list, but definitely in the quest list. I think something gets edged out in favor of this. The third one we got is Proving Grounds. 6-mana spell, summon 2 minions from your deck, and they fight each other. So they just attack and deal damage to each other. So I think they have some demons that have like a lot of more health than attack. But I think for the most part, I think this is kind of for a Death Rattle list. I just don't think this is needed. Like around this time, you're wanting to, on turn 7, play Deathspeaker Blackthorn, which will pull 3 from your deck, and they won't fight each other. And I think you have plenty of other ways to draw / get Death Rattle minions out of your hand for cheaper. There's the weapon that draws them, there's the various quill bores that pull them from your hand. I don't think Proving Grounds is needed. It's a neat idea, but unfortunately I think it's a little superfluous, and I don't think we'll see any play. I think I rated this one 2 stars because I think it'll see some experimentation, but other than that, it's kind of a trash card. But it does lead us to our first achievement we're going to talk about today. Hopping over to the achievement list, we see, like always, each class got 1 achievement added, and the one for Demon Hunter is Even Playing Field, which involves this, I forgot the name of the card already, the card that makes Proving Grounds. It's right here in front of me, in front of my face. It involves having both minions survive fighting each other 10 and then 20 times for, 300 total experience. So this one shouldn't be hard. It's just, if you just build your whole deck with every minion having more health than attack, you'll just get there once you play this card 20 times. It's not a difficult achievement. Doesn't sound like it'll be a huge hard grind. Kind of grateful for this one being easy because Demon Hunter in the past tends to have some pretty rough ones. Now, let's move on to Druid. Druid, I think, has some cards that got a lot of people excited, but I think might be a little overrated. Let's start with what is very easily going to be the best card they got in Druid of the Reef. Now, I saw a video that I think had this rated as one of the best cards in the set. I think it was Zeddy that listed this as the #1 best card in the mini set for Standard. I think it's good, but not that good. I think the 3/1 is just going to die most of the time, especially with Mage being as popular as it is. So I think most of the time you're going to end up taking the 1/3 with Taunt, which would aggro / kind of taunt Druid run. I guess technically this doesn't get discounted because it's not a taunt in your hand, but would this Druid list run Voidwalker? And yeah, maybe. I don't know if it's a complete mainstay. I'd almost rather have the 2/1 Squirrel with the Death Rattle, or any of the various 2-drop Taunt Boys over this. But occasionally you're going to get this through as a 1/3 that's going to live for at least 1 turn, and then your opponent need to trade something in with it when you're not playing Mage. So that could be good. It is efficient though, because they replaced Stone Tusk Boar with a 2/1 with Rush, so this strictly better than that, though that doesn't see much play. Overall, I'm just really looking this as, Druid got Voidwalker that doesn't have Taunt while it's in your hand, which is fine. That deck loves to play some small stuff, and hey, on a turn before playing Arbor Up, if that 1/3 can help protect some other smaller boys on your board, then sure, cool, great. Or if you have this in hand and draw Arbor Up on turn 6, that's a huge thing to drop this and then play the Arbor Up. So yeah, I think this has a chance to see some play. It's just you know, I could see myself queuing a couple games before remembering to figure out where to put this first in my list. Both of these other two I rated 2 stars out of 5. Let's talk about Rig Carpenter first. A very, very cool effect, though. I love the design of this card. Battle Cry, draw a random choose one spell from your deck and split it into the 2 halves. So if you draw a Nourish, you'll get 2 6-mana spells that read gain 2 mana crystals and draw 3 cards. And it's up to you to play them whenever or even if you want. But those options are there for you. It's a neat idea. I like it. I just don't know where it would fit in. It's limited to spells only, so any minions that have choose one on them do not get split. So you're looking at things like Wrath or what is that? I guess that one is pretty good. From Whispers of the Old Gods, it gives you either +4 attack or +8 armor. Having both of those available for 3 is pretty sweet. But that's, you know, if you hit them and you're not running other choose ones. Power of the Forest. So there's some decent stuff. It's just sometimes you're going to end up hitting something that you don't necessarily need right then, and that's not going to feel as great. The stats aren't great, but it doesn't need to be for this effect. But like I said, I think it's a good effect. I think people will mess around with this one and then drop it in favor of more efficient lists. Because Druid is not hurting for card draw at the moment with composting. Even in the aggro list has composting, and then the Anacondra list has a whole bunch of stuff to draw through your deck pretty good. So don't think people are necessarily hurting for Rig Carpenter, but still a neat card. And then finally we get, admittedly, another very cool design. This one kind of reminds me of Guess the Weight without the guessing requirement. It's you discover a copy of any card in your deck among the 3 that they give you, and if you play it this turn, you draw that copy. So it works kind of like Shadow Visions, where you're just discovering a copy, but with the added bonus of drawing that card if you play it. So this could be really good. I just don't know the decks that would run this card, what they're wanting to rush out to play that turn. I mean, this is just a card that you never want to play on curve because you want to have some mana open. I don't know. I think it's just a little awkward. Just anything like this, like at least with the Rig Carpenter, you know that you're gonna, have those in your hand, those options to play whenever you want. This, it's like do I make a weird, awkward play now just to draw the card, or do I just hang on to it and just, have an extra copy of a card? Who knows? But there we go. I think, like the other one, I think it'll get messed around with a bit and then kind of dropped for other, better, more efficient options. I think even comparing this directly to Guess the Weight like I did earlier, I think most of the time I'd rather run Guess the Weight. But the one achievement we have has to deal with Rig Carpenter, so let's go look at that. I've actually started this one already. I'm 1 out of 40 done with this, which is just simply split 20 and then 40 choose one spells. Now this can be done with Rig Carpenter or Steladris, I think the card is called. That is, I think when you play a choose one spell, you then get both options in your hand, so I think this one counts as that. I'm not 100% sure. I don't have Steladris, so I won't be trying that out, but I think that'll work too. Either way, I think this is one I'll end up getting done in duels, which is how I got this 1 tick of this achievement already. There's one of the legendary quests was to play a couple games in duels, so I was like, I'll just throw this Druid one in there and a couple other cards and see what happens. Haven't had a good luck finding it though, just found it the one time out of like 5 games that I played earlier. But once again, doesn't seem like a rough one. It's just a play this card X number of times kind of thing, and 40 is not the worst thing in the world, so not all bad. Now Hunter got some spicy stuff. Let's start off with Doggy Biscuit, a card that I read and said, this card is super overrated. Like, people are saying how good this card is, and I'm like, that effect sucks. Trading it away just to give something rush, like, no thank you. Hunter has enough rush stuff or whatever. And then I totally forgot the main part of the card. When you play it, it's just give a minion +2/+3, which is like exactly what Face Hunter wants to do. So I think I rated this card originally 1 star because I said this effect is terrible, but forgetting about what the card actually does. I was just looking at the tradable thing. So after realizing that, I gave it 3 stars. I think it should be 4 stars because I think Face Hunter just runs this. It's just one of the reasons why Librams are so good in Paladin, because it's just like almost like charge damage. Like you play something on something that's already on the board, and that's just extra damage. And +2/+3 for 2 is a pretty good buff. I think Druid has like this exact same card, but also gives something taunt. Yeah, I think Doggy Biscuit gets there. Yeah, so I'm gonna say 4 stars for this one. Face Hunter is good, always has been good, and with this will continue to be good, I think. Moving on, another card, I think I rated it 4 stars. I love this card, Monstrous Parrot. Most of the Parrot and Macaw cards I love. They all repeat something that has happened previously. In this case, it's repeat the last death rattle that triggered, but as a battle cry. So it's reminiscent of like Play Dead. But you don't. It's like Play Dead mixed with like Phlebinus Floop, and I'll talk about Floop again later. But that was in Druid. It was very much like you would play your Malygos on one turn, and then basically have like a 4-mana Malygos in your hand. Because you're not playing Malygos for the body, you're playing it for the +5 spell damage, and so Floop was often like just an extra copy of Malygos that you could set up another turn earlier. And this I see kind of the same way. Like you can set up like a good, impactful death rattle, like a Tonk or something like that, and then just have that queued up to just like pop off like a 4-mana 3/4 that deals like 8 damage split among a bunch of things. That's really good. Yeah, and especially like in Wild, I've seen people memeing it up with like Death Rattle Hunter stuff, and this is like good for that deck. I love this cycle, this Parrot cycle, and I think this one's a really good one. Like, yeah, it's a bit of an overstat minion, but I think the effect is so good that it doesn't matter because you're playing it for the effect. And so I think this is a 4-star card, and we'll see some play somewhere. I don't know how much Death Rattles the Face Hunter lists are running. Maybe not any, but like, you know, worth experimenting with, and something I think that can only get better as time goes on. So I love this card. Even if it doesn't see a lot of play right now, it's one day like keep in mind, and I'm excited for it. What I'm slightly less excited for is Defias Blast Fisher. It kind of goes with the rat synergy of having as many beasts as you can on the battlefield, which just when you play it, it just deals 2 damage to random stuff, kind of like Ship's Cannon, but it's based on how many beasts are on your board. So it wants you to have like all the rats and everything on there to just kind of pop off and shoot stuff. I don't think this one's as good. That wide beast archetype hasn't really done too much. Like a lot of the face stuff is like single larger boy beasts, so kind of unsure about this one. I don't remember if Unleash the Hounds is still in standard. It's in Wild. Like this fits into an Odd Hunter list if you want to not run Questline Odd Hunter, but yeah, I think this one's just a 2-star thing. I think some people try again to get the rat thing to work. But I'm finished with that achievement, so I'm not. But I don't think this one's going to work out very well. I think people will just say like, oh wait, if I just play things that hit my opponent in the face really hard, that's probably better. And then I think, yeah, alright. So I think the achievement has to do with this boy, but let's go back and check just to make sure. I love the name of this one. Carry On, My Wayward Son, is repeating the death rattles of 8 and 16 different cards. So not just repeat the death rattle 16 times, it's just do it with 16 different cards. So you might have to hop into duels for this one, because there's a lot of death rattles that probably are running in a refined list. If you want to get that variety out, I think reading it, that's how I take this into account. It might just be do this 16 times, but it says 16 different cards. If the game can track all that, then cool, that's interesting. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it'll be too bad. Just maybe a little time consuming, more time consuming than your average just grindy one, because you actually have to put some thought into it. But overall, once again, still not a terrible achievement. Moving on, I think Mage got some kind of trash this one. I'm going to start with a Parrot. I know I said I love the cycle of Parrots. This one repeats the last spell you've cast that costs 5 or more. They keep giving us like big spell synergy, but like nothing that super excites me for big spell stuff. This is a very expensive boy. Yes, you can get like, you know, shenanigans off with like deep freeze or something like that, or people were talking about wanting to run a Yogg box in Wild, play this and then next turn drop the parrot to play another box of Yogg Saron. But I don't know. This is just like clunky, and there's nothing that I super care to you know, do this with, especially with the way mage decks are playing in standard and heck, even in wild right now. You're probably not even getting to turn 8, but if you are, you're wanting to do other stuff that's not this. So I think I rated this 1 star. Additionally, I also rated this 1 star, just mostly because of standard. Like I said, the big spell stuff isn't really going on, and minions aren't really even going on in mage right now, so yeah, it's cool to draw a spell, but in mage, like one of your most expensive spells is like, you know, if you're even running a Pexus Blast, maybe you get lucky and draw a Spring Water or something like that. Or if you've played your Incanter's Flows, they can nerf that card all they want. People are still going to play them. I don't know. A lot of your spells are cheap these days, so most of the time this is like a 4 mana 3/4 that like draws you a spell and then gives you 1 or 2 armor, which, you know, may be fine, but, you know, I wouldn't want to pollute my deck list with a card like this. I also gave this card 1 star. And then they did give us a big spell. 5 mana spell. It's interesting. I like the design on it. It's, you know, it pings a minion for 8 damage, and then any overkill damage becomes a boy. So if you if you hit a Silverhand Recruit with this, it'll kill it and then summon a 7/7. You know, let's just hop right into the achievement for this one, because I need to do math in my head. The achievement is to summon a 10/10 or bigger, or a 12/12, and then a 12/12 or bigger with Arcane Overflow. So, like, this makes my brain hurt because, alright, to get a 12/12, you'll have to deal 13 damage to something that has 1 health, which means you would need spell damage plus 5, which is like 2 Phoenixes plus, like, a +1 thing, which is a lot to get done. So I'm nervous about this achievement. It's, you know, if I just work at it, I'll get it done, but that's that still doesn't change the fact that I'm a little nervous about this one. This one, hey, at least they finally gave me a fun kind of puzzle deck building one that will be good for making content for. But, because, yeah, the main set was kind of missing these types of achievements, so, like I said, I'm always up for a good challenge, but, I think this one will have it out for me a little bit. I rated this card 2 stars, by the way. I think, honestly, you just run a Pexus Blast over this. It's cool to get a big body left over, but, you know, can't go face. Next up we have Paladin. They got another parrot. I guess I'll start here. Repeat the last spell you cast on a friendly minion on this. And once again, I like this card. It's another thing that you can set up pretty well. Obviously the highest roll here is the Libram of Hope. I mean, it wouldn't do anything for the healing, but it would summon an 8/8 with Taunt and Divine Shield, which is massive. Likewise, there's things like Blessing of Authority, or even something as small as like a Hand of a Doll or another just regular Libram. That is, you know, still good. If you're playing a Libram deck, you'll get like, you know, a 3rd copy back, and that's, you know, real solid. I think this card's really good. I rated this one 3 stars. 3 cards, 3 stars. I'm not 100% sure about how great this is going to be, because it sounds great for the high roll of the Libram of Hope, but, you know, sometimes you're going to have to just play this whenever. I think it's one of those cards that people are going to hold in their hand for too long. If you look at the stats on this one after a bit, you're going to find that it's held in hand for too many turns. That's my prediction for this card. That people are going to wait and wait for the right moment and then realize that they should have just tempoed it out when they could. They would have got so much more value and board presence from it. Should have just played it. I still think it's a really good card, and I can't say enough. I love this cycle of parrots. It's super good. We got some interesting, like, stat stealing stuff for the other two. Let's talk about Righteous Defense first. I'm interested in this for Wild. There's a lot of quest lines running around, which this basically becomes a 3-mana buff one guy in your hand by 6/6. And if I'm running things like Leroy and the 4-mana 3/2 charge Lifesteal boys and the other charge boys that have Divine Shields, like hitting one of those is like a game-winning play right there. Or hitting a Zilliax with that against one of these super aggressive decks and just like, yum yum, give me that lifesteal, baby. It's an interesting card. It's basically just drain something down to a 1/1 and buff a boy in your hand. With all the questline stuff running around, it's very likely that you'll see something 7/7 or bigger at some point. So I like this card a lot. It's a little expensive, but it's a great effect. Absolutely huge effect. It's just, it's random, so it could hit something you don't necessarily want it to. Which, you know, hey, do you ever really not want it to hit something in your hand? Like, you'll be happy with whatever if you get a huge buff off of it, but, you know, you'll really want to hit that Annoyotron or something over, like, Bannerman or something that'll just come out and just be there. But it's a cool card. I like that they're going more and more effects of like stat stealing stuff, like Serena in the Baron set, and now we have all this stuff with Paladin. Speaking of, Wealth Redistributor, this is a weird card to understand. Swap the attack of the highest and lowest attack minions. So let's just say you have no minions on board, your opponent has just played Dawn Grasp and cleared your board of stuff, and then you drop this. Dawn Grasp becomes a 2/7 and this becomes a 7/8. So I guess also with Paladin you would probably have some Silverhand Recruit stuff going on, so at the very worst like a 1/1, your 1/1 Silverhand Recruit swaps with something else and becomes like a 4/1 or a 5/1 or something like that. But you know, potential huge upside. Once again, it's something that could potentially get charge damage on it by swapping with something that's already on the board. It's just a real funky, weird card. It's hard to evaluate. I think I rated both of these cards at 2 stars, but I think I'm going to bump Wealth Redistributor up to like a 3-star card, because I think this could see play just because of like the charge immediate damage potential, because it's, you know, not super difficult to stick 1/1s onto the board eventually. And like I said, with all the questline stuff running around, you're very likely to get a 7/1 that's about to swing in. So I think Wealth Redistributor has more of a chance than Righteous Defense, because at the end of the day, a body is better than no body. No body. Anyway, we have an achievement for this card, so let's go look at that real quick. The Robin Hood achievement, swap 2 minions that have a difference of 5 and then 10 attack using a Wealth Redistributor. So your opponent drops a Deathwing. Oh no, everything is destroyed. You hit your button to summon a 1/1, and then you play your Wealth Redistributor, and that Deathwing becomes a 1/12, and this becomes a 12/1. That's something like that is probably the most likely scenario. You don't see too much stuff that's got like 11 attack or bigger, other than like those big boy dragons, and you rarely even see those. And I guess Deathwing is technically really the only one with 12. I've seen huge stuff in duels. There's one Paladin thing I see very rarely that's like cast 6 random blessings on this thing, and I saw something be like a 58/16 with like Lifesteal and Rush and Divine Shield and stuff. It was absolutely disgusting. Then I polymorphed it. It turned into a 1/1 sheep. So this might be a duels one, because you're probably more likely to see like super huge things running around there. So that's probably my choice for where to get this one done. But if you can figure something else out, go for that. Priest got what I think is one of the strongest cards in the entire mini-set in a common of Defias Leper, at 2 mana 3/2 that just like pings something for 2 damage as long as you're holding a shadow spell. That's there's a lot of shadow spells that see play in like almost every Priest deck. Raise Dead, and oh shoot, what is it? It's the 3 mana 1 fortune reading, palm reading, I think it is. Um, yeah, palm reading is like in every priest deck, if that's even the right name. Um, this card's just super efficient, just like, you know, it's comparable to that. What's that one that if you had a secret in play? I play it all the time in Wild. It's like a 2-mana 2/3 that pings something for 3 if you control a secret. This is just hold a shadow spell and deal 2 damage. It's incredibly good, super good value, great tempo. This card is just fantastic. I don't have much else to say about it. It's just a super solid card. Moving on, we see actually some tradable upsides here. You trade this, and I think it goes to 2 after 1, and then 3, and then 4, and so on and so forth. And you get kind of this N'Zoth of old effect of resurrecting Death Rattle minions. Which might be really cool in Wild. Oh, it might also be horrible in Wild to play against, that is, with big priest stuff running around. Overall, it's an interesting card. Resurrect stuff we haven't seen any Resurrect stuff in a long time, aside from like Raise Dead, but that's like to your hand. This is like straight up on the board rezzing. And it's a solid card. I just don't know how much Death Rattle stuff they're playing in Standard right now. I think this one has more of a shot in Wild, where I think you can just cut some of the other, like, I think you just cut Resurrect, that's just Resurrect a random boy, dig through your deck a couple times with this, and then summon a couple other of the Elemental Colossus, whatever, the 10-mana 7/7 that summons another 7/7 when it dies. That's just, I would instantly concede against that, like, anytime. I think, let's see, Defias Leper I rated 5 stars. And I think Amulet of Undying I rated at 2, because even though there's some Death Rattle stuff in Priest, that's not really how they're going. So I think people might mess around with it a little, but just kind of drop it after a bit. Copycat is an interesting card. Typically cards like in this kind of space that's like does the same thing as a secret of some kind, but your opponent knows about it, never see much play. On the other hand, this isn't limited to minions or spells or anything. It's any card. So your opponent drops, you know, anything for tempo the next turn, you just get it. Or they play a spell. I guess at the very worst you get a coin from this or something, which, hey, that's a coin. I love the art too. I think this one will end up being a 2-star card because of how easily your opponent can probably play around it. It's like, you know, something like Mana Bind or something, but your opponent, once again, knows what it is. Remember Harbinger Celestia from Boomsday? God, that card saw 0 play. Still, this one's interesting though. I like the design, and we do have an achievement that I think might be the hardest achievement of this whole set. Let's look at it. Unfortunately, I think we found the one achievement that's going to be the one that's hardest to get. The one that's going to eat away at my soul nonstop, and it's should have seen this coming. The first step of it, destroy an enemy, any enemy, with a card you've copied from your opponent as priest. So I'm assuming if it's a minion, kill a minion with that minion, or if it's a spell, kill a minion with that spell. Of course, if you get a coin, it does nothing. But then the second part of it, destroy your opponent with a card you've copied from them as priest. So I guess best case scenario, you get a minion, it sticks to the board, and you somehow get lethal with that minion. Seems rough, buddy. Boy. This is gonna be the 2/2 Adventures one of this set, huh? You know, I never did Oh My Yogg, the get a lethal with Oh My Yogg. Never even tried for that one. This one's gonna be rough because your opponent knows what this is. Like, with Oh My Yogg, eventually they have to play a spell, whereas this, they're like, oh, let me just play a 1-mana 1/1 or something like that. Let me, you know, as mage, play my second flame on the cat, so you get just a 1-mana deal 2 damage to a thing, which, you know, could maybe deal with this part of it, but not the second one. So I'm already scratching my head on this one. I don't like it, but I'm gonna try it. Okay, moving on to Rogue. I'll try to go a little faster this one because I've just been rambling a lot. Blackwater Cutlass, I think, is a little overrated by the community. A lot of people are like, "Oh, this is so good," and yes, it's power creep on Bloodclaw, which was a 1-mana 2/2 weapon that dealt 5 damage to your own face. Now let me slowly get back here. So yeah, it's like same cost, same stats. It has tradable, and after you trade it, you reduce the cost of a spell in your hand by 1. So it's basically you're just banking mana to use on a later turn. I think Rogue doesn't want to be wasting 1 mana to do this, to draw a card and to put this away into your deck, just to make something 1 cheaper. You're wanting to play stuff out, tempo, tempo, tempo. I saw a lot of people saying that this card's insane. This is like one of the best cards in the set. I think, calm down. I honestly don't know if it gets run with Garrote Rogue stuff. I think you stick with Octobot, you stick with your field contact. This doesn't proc any of that kind of stuff, so I think you just cut this one. No pun intended. Yeah, what did I rate this? I think I rated this. I rated this 1 star eventually. I came after this card. Yes, it's neat that you can sometimes bank 1 mana on something, but that's when you have it in your hand and want to pay 1 to trade it away. I think this card is a huge trap. I think this is bait. Also bait, parlay, but I love the flavor of this one. Swap this for a card in your opponent's deck. There's another interesting achievement that relies on your opponent playing along with you for this one, but we'll get there. This sometimes might break up a combo. Sometimes you'll get something cool. It's kind of like the Bad Luck Albatross, but you're putting 1 thing in their deck, and it's something that they can then do back to you. So it's significantly less good. There's no body involved, but it does only cost 1. I think this card never gets run in any competitive deck. I think it's pretty much just a 1-star kind of thing. Not worth the opportunity to hopefully break up somebody's combo and get a big thing. And then we get our first legendary we're going to talk about in Edwin, Defias Kingpin. The big boss of... I think he was the big boss of the raid in WoW. He gets killed here. Spoilers. But what does he do? Old Edwin was a 4-mana... I think it was a 3-mana 2/2 that got nerfed to a 4-mana 2/2 that was gain +2/+2 for every card you've cast this turn. This one's just a 4-mana 4/4, and it draws you a card, and if you play that card, kind of like Acrobatics or Stilt Stepper for Demon Hunter, if you play that card this turn, this gets +2/+2, and you draw again. So it's kind of like a cumulative battle cry, kind of like Instructor Fireheart for Shaman. But for just drawing through cards in your deck. So I don't know what'll happen if you hit a bleed and then draw a card, because I don't think the bleed will count as you playing the card. I'm not sure. There's weird stuff with this card. It's an interesting value piece. You know, if you can proc this twice, that's a 4-mana 8/8 that draw you 2 cards. That draw you 3 cards, actually, because it'll draw you a 3rd one, which I'd play that card. Granted, that's late in the game. You have to pretty much build your deck with a lot of like low-cost stuff, otherwise you're just going to be stuck, you know, oh, I can't play this card anyway, oops. It's kind of like the Instructor Fireheart thing where, yes, she's a great card, but you have to like play her on like turn 9 or 10 or something like that. So, I don't know. I think this has potential. I rated this one 3 stars, because I think it'll stick somewhere. I think it'll find its way into a list. Anything that's not playing like Garrote, any other rogue list, I think will put in Edwin and be super happy about it. Cool kind of modernization of the original flavor. Hey, we're almost done with the Garrote one. But what we're here to talk about is Parlay. Now you can only put in Constructed, you can only put 2 copies in your deck, right? This achievement is for parlaying with your opponent 4 times in one game. So I don't know if that counts. You know, if you play it twice and then they draw both and play it on you, I don't know if that counts as 4. Because it just says parlay with them, which technically if they parlay with you, that's like you parlaying with them. And I don't know how it works yet, remains to be seen. But the second step of this is to do it 8 times in one game. So, like I said, this is one that's going to take some cooperation between you and your opponent. It's just one of those things, if you just jam enough games with this, you'll eventually get there. Moving on, Shaman also got some spicy stuff, and I'm not talking about cookies soup. I'm talking about Brilliant Macaw. Now, I know I compared the Hunter Parrot to Flabindus Floop, but this one really is like Floop, because you would most of the time hang on to Floop and set him up with some kind of a battle cry or Malygos, like I said. And this is the exact same effect. It's just a 3-mana 3/3, but just repeat the last battle cry you played. This card's absolutely disgusting. Can you imagine like popping off one turn with Instructor Fireheart, and then the very next turn popping off with Instructor Fireheart again, but it's a bird? This card's sick. I gave this card 5 stars. I love this design. Shaman's doing good with battle. Technically, they're not doing great with Battlecry stuff now. They're like doing overloady stuff, but they're still getting a lot of pieces for Battlecry stuff. So I think this slots right in there. Easy fit into that deck. I love this card. Moving on, a card I think will be good, but not in Standard. I think this is automatically in any Murloc Shaman list, which is still an okay deck because it's very aggressive. Now, I've played a decent share of Murloc Shaman, and one of the roughest things is getting your board cleared a little bit. However, this gets cleared off. This gives you a weapon that over the next couple turns you can get some guaranteed healing and damage in, while you maybe wait one more turn to have a good play a bunch of Murlocs turn. So I think Cookie goes into any Shaman Murloc deck, but in Standard I don't really see it. Cookie's really slow, and as long as you have access to the 6/4 with Rush and Lifesteal, you just never worry about Cookie. But yeah, in Wild sometimes you just need a little bit of healing, and I think this will go a long way in that deck. I love Cookie. I saw this card and I was like, I am gonna jam some Murloc Shaman. I'm excited. So I don't know. I think I'm overrating this one. But I think it'll see play in Wild, like I said. Sucker Hook, though, I rated this one an easy 1 star. I haven't looked at all the weapons. I haven't looked at all the weapons that are in Standard, and God knows I haven't looked in Wild. But yeah, evolving your weapon is really interesting design space. I just don't think it's very good. Especially because the Doomhammer is such a good weapon at the 2/8 with Wind Fury. I don't think Shaman has any 4-cost weapons. Now, you could have a 3-cost weapon and hope that this sticks for 2 turns. They have, I think Gavel is 2, Whack and Nullhammer is 3, and then 5 mana is Doomhammer. And plus, you're not even guaranteed what you're going to get there. I think one of the best things you can do here is the Auction House Gavel, turning into Self-Sharpening Sword, and then just hope that Sucker Hook dies, because Self-Sharpening Sword... Wow, that's hard to say. Self-Sharpening Sword is pretty good. I don't know, this is just awkward. It could turn into something garbage. It's relying on you having a weapon and this living for multiple turns. I think this is a trash card. 1 star, it doesn't see play. Except if you're trying to do this achievement. Yes, they gave Sucker Hook an achievement. It's kind of worded weirdly. Step 1 is transforming your weapon into an epic or legendary weapon. Step 2 is just a legendary weapon. So if you roll a legendary weapon first, you just get both parts of this. I think this will be pretty easy in duels. I need to look at what the breakpoints are for legendary weapons, but I think if you... Well, like I said, there's no real 4-cost weapons. You'll just get there eventually if you just run this in Wild or duels. This is 100% going to be a duels one for me. Warlock got a couple more pieces that fit in with the self-damage package and, well, whatever this is. Let's start with Shadowblade Slinger, though. I wanted to say Stinger, which would also work. Battlecry, if you've taken damage this turn, deal that much to an enemy minion. It's kind of like Prize Plunderer, Same stats, is a pirate, costs 1. But it's however much damage you've taken on your turn. Now you can do a ton of damage to yourself. Even if you just ping, this is a 1 mana, deal 2 damage to a minion, which is fine. That's pretty decent. Prize Plunder is a pretty good card. Sees play in Rogue, I believe, in the Garrote list. So I don't see why this one wouldn't be run with in the best archetype for Warlock currently. It's a dang solid card. Give it like 3 stars, I guess, because it'll probably see play. But it's, I don't know, to me it's, after playing a lot of that deck in its current form, like there was other stuff I wanted to draw that wasn't this. Or there's more stuff I wanted to do on my turn that wasn't this. But if you need to kill a thing, like, there's easy ways to get this damage up there for this card. Moving on, Wicked Shipment is another thing that upgrades when traded. It's a 1 mana summon 2 1/1s, which, is fine. It's like Living Roots back in the day. But if you trade this away and draw it again, it's a 1 mana upgrades by 2. So it's a 1 mana summon 4 1/1s. And once again, it goes 6, and then, it can't go above 7. My issue with this, though, is that it doesn't get good until you trade it. It doesn't get super good. It's fine as is, I guess, but it doesn't get super good until you trade it away a bunch of times. And then by that point, it's like Fiendish Circle, and that, even after getting buffed, never saw any play. So I think this one is a little too low impact for what it does. I think this is a 1-star card. We'll see no play except for the achievement hunters, because of course they gave this one an achievement to do. Moving on, Hullbreaker is another interesting self-damage synergy spell, or minion, rather. It's a demon, 4 mana, 4/3. Battlecry and Death Rattle. Draw a spell, and you take damage equal to that spell's cost. Beautiful. Good card. Run it in your self-damage list. Honestly, run it almost anywhere. Good card, fine. 4 mana, advance your quest line, draw a card, deal a couple damage to yourself. It's good. It's really efficient. It's really solid. I think this one's like probably a 4-star card. I like it a lot better than the Slinger over here, because it gets you 2 cards instead of just, I guess it doesn't kill a thing, but it gets you 2 cards. And damages you a little bit. If you draw a Raised Dead, it's just a 4 mana 4/3 draw a card. That's solid. Death Rattle, it'll do it again maybe. Hey, super solid card. But like I said, let's look at this stupid Wicked Shipment achievement. Oh no, what achievement could they have possibly given the card that summons things except to summon 5 and then 7 of them? That's all I have to say for this achievement. Okay, our last class we're going to talk about is Warrior, that of course got some stuff that goes along with the whole pirate theme. First up is Man the Cannons, which is kind of like a mini swipe that can't go face, just deal 3 damage to one thing and then 1 damage to everything else. And I think this card is overrated. I saw a thing saying this is going to be one of the best cards in the set, and it's fine. It's efficient. It's just, I don't know if the 1 damage breakpoint is going to be enough, especially with something that can't go face. The 3 damage breakpoint is good. The 1 damage breakpoint is just like cake. If this card read just like deal 3 damage to a minion for 2, no one would ever run it, and I don't think that the 1 damage to everything else is going to be enough. I don't know. I'm down on this card. It could be incredible. I would much rather run Shiver Their Timbers. Just for 1 mana, deal 5 damage to a thing if you have a pirate, because of course you do, because you're Warrior and that's all they do now. I don't know. I like Shiver Their Timbers better. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think this is a very good card. 1 star I wrote down, and that's what I'm sticking to. Meanwhile, I think the other 2 cards are very good. A Defias Cannoneer is an incredible pirate. Your quest line draws you a weapon, so you'll be swinging with your face. There's a good weapon in this set, so you'll be swinging with your face maybe multiple times. Who knows? But after, it's just a 3 mana 3/3, and after your hero attacks, ping something for 4 damage, or 2 damage twice rather. So something hits something with Divine Shield, it breaks that, then deals 2 damage to him. I like the flavor text. Blew up in his face, and then 3. He didn't get the count right. This card's just super solid. It's a great pirate. 3 mana 3/3 is just a lovely stat line. Yeah, not much else to say. It's just a very good pirate that goes in like every questline deck. And now this one, I think folks underrated this one, and here's why. This doesn't see play in Wild. Like in Pirate Warrior in Wild, you run Ankar as like your only weapon, and it's Ankar. Ankar is the one that you draw from your first step of your quest line. But in Standard, I've been seeing people running Gorehowl, which I guess if you play your Sword Eater, there's like a couple turn like spot before you want to equip another weapon, but that's why you just trade this away and it becomes a 4 mana 5/3. Honestly, if this was just gain +1 durability, I would still think it's incredible, because a 4 mana Arcanite Reaper, basically, that you've just traded away once and then found again, is incredible. And plus, like, if this is the only weapon you're running, like, just trade it into your deck and then play your pirate to like draw it again. Like, it's easy to find a second time. And it becomes a 4 mana 5/3, which is just like, baby, that's good. Even if this was just a 5 mana 5/3, which it eventually is, but it draws you a card in the process, I think this card's great. It's like, you know, 1 mana, it's 1 damage less Fireball, provided your opponent doesn't have any taunts. I think this is incredible. It's got synergies. 5-star card for this one. I only rated the other pirate at 4, but I think that's a 5-star card as well. Both of these I think are incredible. You know, there's honestly only one thing for me to do after seeing this pirate list. Doing it. I can't not. There's an achievement for it, and this card is going to be supremely meta. Why isn't it showing up that I own this card now? That's weird. I have it, right? Just give Hearthstone a second. Oh, I do have it. Stole my moment. I wanted to be cool. Alright, well anyway, I'm going to be playing a lot of Pirate Warrior. I think everyone will be. I better get these achievements done before this card gets nerfed or banned in Wild or something, because pirates are going to be ridiculous. Equip a blacksmithing hammer with 5 durability and then one with 7 durability. So that would be trading it twice and then 3 times and then equipping it. So might try to throw together some kind of a control list to get this done. Maybe duels, but probably just standard, actually. Get this done, try to hang on for as long as possible, but I don't think this one will be too difficult. Might actually throw Auctioneer Jackson into a deck to get this one done. That's interesting. Okay, finally, we have the neutral cards. I'll go in order of rarity here. First off, wonderful meme, Galaka Glutton. Galaka Crawler was a card much complained about back in Journey to Ungoro, I think. It was just a 2 mana 2/3 crab that had a battle cry, destroy a pirate and gain +1/+1. This is a 3 mana 2/3 somehow, which is destroy a beast and gain +1/+1. Incredible 5-star meme, but I think just a 1-star card. Galaka Crawler was super good back in the day because it patches the pirate, and now there's a lot of pirates running around, but you know, beasts, aside from like Hunter. Now if this was like Baron's meta where everyone is running that Scorpion, then this card would be money, but the Scorpion's kind of fallen a little out of favor, but whatever. Wonderful meme though, love it. We'll never play this card. Another interesting card here, Multicaster. Draw a card for each different spell school you've cost this game. It's interesting. I think most classes have available, especially like the more spell-based ones, have generally like 2 or 3 classes that they're kind of good at. Like Druid has like Nature and Arcane, while like favoring Nature. Priest has like Holy and Shadow. Warlock has like Shadow. I think some Fell and some Fire for the most part. Same with like Demon Hunter. Mage is going to be one of the big winners here with like Fire, Frost, Arcane. I don't know if they get any of the others as well, but you know, hey, that's, you know, a 4 mana draw 3. I take that. That's, well, it's not better than Spring Water. Nothing is better than Spring Water, but yeah, interesting card. Might see play someday, but maybe not today because once again, Mage is not running minions. Yeah, but still cool, good card. Glad it's here. The one epic of the set is another 5-star meme, but another 1-star card in Maddest Bomber, dealing 12 damage, randomly split among everything on the board. For 8 mana though, I think Mad Bomber was a 2 mana 3/2. One of them was like a 5 mana 4/5. This is or it was like a 5 mana 5/4. This is an 8 mana 9/8. This card will never see any play, but it's a glorious day for those who've been a fan of Hearthstone for a long time. Because I think Madder Bomber came out in GVG like way a long time ago. Now here we finally got Maddest Bomber. Trash card, but really cool. Let's talk about Goliath first, because I think it's the less good one. It's just an 8 mana 8/8. But I think this is a first for Hearthstone. Selecting multiple targets for something. You shoot, it's kind of like the Dark Moon Tonk, but it shoots 5 missiles, but it can only hit minions, but you choose where the missiles go. So that's really cool. Unfortunately, once again, it's also very slow, can't go face. So I don't think this really will see play anywhere, unfortunately. It's a neat card. Just wish it was slightly better. But hey, what can you do? Then finally, Mr. Smite, big bad pirate boy. It's Leroy for 1 more mana, with an upside to other pirates. Buddy, this is a card. Wow. I feel like a lot of people have been talking about this card. I think this card is very good. I know that Trump was a little down on this card, but everyone else is pretty much saying this is going to be the most busted thing ever. I think it's very good. We saw a couple metas ago, we saw Alexstrasza being run. Now, I loved Alexstrasza, the new one, since she was announced in the core set. I was like, oh, this is just a sweet neutral finisher, like just a deal 8 damage as a fireball. This is essentially like Leroy back in standard again, except it's a 6/5, and I guess upside if you're running other pirate stuff, so an upside for warrior. This is basically a warrior card. But I guess in wild there's some other stuff like really aggro decks run like patches and like the 1 mana pirate, so a lot of odd decks run those, so you won't see this in odd decks. But yeah, I think Mr. Smite's really good. I think this is the best legendary in the set. And I guess we'll kind of go to my general thoughts about the set after we... I think the 5 stars for Mr. Smite, by the way. Like, I think it's just a super... It's cheaper than Alexstrasza for just 6 damage to the face or whatever. I think it's great. I think it's a great card. I think it'll be seen across several decks. But we have 2 more achievements, I believe, to talk about before I give my overall final thoughts on the set. And finally, in the neutrals, we find... where are you? Okay, I already started this one in duels. Destroy 50 and then 100 minions with Goliath's rockets. The good news is, because you can control where they all go, you can... sometimes get multiple, but if you're in a pinch and you're running this card and there's like a huge boy, you can just kill one huge thing. It is flexible, and that's good about it, so I don't think this will be a particularly difficult grind. Just one thing that I will get done and then probably never run again. And then finally, with Multicaster, draw 3 and then 5 cards with a single one. So I think this will be another duels one. And I think it would have to be Warlock, because I'm thinking you have, like I said, Shadow, Fell, and Fire are like your 3 main ones. But in Whispers of the Old Gods, there's, I think, a holy spell called Renounce Darkness. I think that might be the only holy spell Warlock has. And then I guess you just hope that you hit, like, another spell school of some kind with that. So this one actually seems like it'll be kind of difficult. I have to sit down and, like, kind of math out which classes can get this done the best. But hey, I guess we'll see. And yeah, might not be too bad, but off the top of my head, I'm kind of like searching for answers here on this one. But that is every card talked about from the mini set, and I've been recording for a very long time. If you made it this far, I guess here are, first of all, thank you, but here's my overall thoughts. In the past, I've said that a mini set is worth purchasing if there are 2 legendaries that you think are worth it from there. Mr. Smite is one for me, and for me, Cookie is a second, because I'm, chasing achievements. Goliath is a third, so that makes 3 that I will run in some regard, which, makes it worth it for me. However, if I didn't have a stake in any of this, if I wasn't chasing achievements, if I wasn't super a fan of Wild, or especially Murloc Shaman, Mr. Smite would only be the one legendary I'm interested in. The epic isn't worth it. All the good stuff is honestly mostly a common rarity. So I think you'd be better off either saving up a couple packs to open like I did with Dark Moon. I think I saved all my packs after the day 1 and just saved them to the mini set and opened them all. Got everything except the legendaries. And yeah, saved my gold on that one. So I think this one, in a vacuum, I think would be a pass. I did it though because, like I said, I had 3 legendaries that I was after. But I think if you have some spare gold, like buy a couple packs, get your commons and your rares out of the way, and hope you have enough dust to craft maybe Mr. Smite or one other one that you're interested in. So it's unfortunate that I can't give like a glowing review to the set as a whole. But there's not a lot of stuff that's like super interesting to me, but anything can happen, metas can shift, and this could be incredibly busted, who knows. It's just that the Stormwind set before it was incredibly strong to begin with. But hey, that is all my thoughts on everything. My voice is killing me, and I think my baseball team is about to lose in the World Series, so I am going to go. But I would like to thank you once again for sticking with me all this time and watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to give a like to the video below and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Both of those things would help me out a lot. What cards are you excited for from this mini set? I can't wait to play some Pirate Warrior, just like probably everyone else in the world. But yeah, and also, I guess since we have a new achievement set, if you'd like to see any achievements covered in a future video, please feel free to leave those in a comment as well. Hey, follow me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at HeyTallman at both places. No idea what I'm going to be streaming coming up soon. Just finished up my Halloween playthrough of Eternal Darkness, which was great. All of that is archived on YouTube here, so go check that out as well. And I think that is it for everything. So until next time, take easy, have a great day, may the card you need the most never be at the bottom of your deck.